Heavy rain soaking the ground, flooding roads and neighborhoods. High wind gusts tossing trees, knocking out the power. And thunderstorms creating a potential for severe weather, dropping hail on homes and cars. A dangerous weather system is slamming the south. Right now, the storm is hovering over Alabama, making its way east towards the Carolinas. While we're in the clear right now, this bad weather could be an issue for us tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley keeping an eye on the system and has that outlook for the United States and right here at home.
Yeah, Tanya, it's a pretty potent system, and it's one that we often see a lot of times here in the spring months. And let's take a look at where it is right now. Currently moving across the southeast, of course. We've seen it go through Louisiana, Mississippi, now Alabama, Georgia, and the panhandle of Florida. They're under the gun this evening still for severe thunderstorms and even a tornado risk, really through southwest Georgia down toward Panama City. Now, for tomorrow, Thursday is going to be a big day across much of the eastern U.S. From South Carolina all the way up to Ohio, there is at least some risk of severe thunderstorms. So let's look at our futurecast. I'm expecting heavy rain is how we start our day tomorrow. This is early on in the morning, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock. Look how heavy that rain is. It really will be coming down. Now, the severe weather risk is not that high in the morning. And as the day wears on, most of that heavy rain is pushing off to our east. This is around 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We get a bit of a break in the action. However, the cold front itself is still lingering back here. This is not until 6 p.m. Notice, though, there's a couple storms that do try and pop up one more time, and that could be where we'll still want to be on guard for a quick possible thunderstorm that could turn strong or severe. Either way, it's going to be windy all day long. Wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour all of Thursday and all of Friday. We have two very windy days on track for our area. So just to recap, tomorrow happens in two parts. The first half, heavy rain, some thunder, low severe storm risk. The second half, more dry for the afternoon, but with some breaks of sun and that cold front moving in, we still do run the risk of a thunderstorm that could form in our area. And there is even a low chance of a severe storm and a low chance of a tornado. We'll be tracking it all for you. It is that time of year. Make sure you have your alerts turned on, and I'd go ahead and secure those outdoor objects so that they don't blow away when the winds are whipping the next 2 days.
All right, let's give you a closer look at the storm system. First, we start in Alabama. We're giving you a live look from Gulfport, we're starting in Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi, near Alabama, where the storm is headed. A tornado watch was just lifted for Mobile. Intense winds, high water levels could be seen near the Mobile Causeway. The route connects Mobile and Spanish Fort, and right now, it looks like you kind of need a boat to get around. All right, the storm knocked out power for thousands in Mississippi. More than 25,000 people woke up in the dark. The storm tossed trees left, right, heavy rain creating all kinds of issues with wind gusts tossing debris everywhere. One man says the streets were so bad he had to get out of his car and walk the rest of the way.
I had to walk my wife, she's a physician down at the university, I had to walk my wife over several streets and someone came and picked her up to get her into the hospital. Last night it seemed to happen just all of a sudden because, you know, we knew the weather was coming, it was raining a little bit, but nothing seemed bad, and it got extremely intense. Only probably 10-15 minutes, but that 10 or 15 minutes was incredibly intense. Water slamming against the windows, debris flying everywhere, that kind of thing.
In Louisiana, much the same story. Severe weather causing several alerts, from tornado warnings to flood watches. Over 150,000 power outages reported. The weather also spurring travel advisories. Well, police urged motorists to avoid driving as heavy rain caused flooding in parts of southern Louisiana. You can see the drivers trying to get ahead of the storm, but flooded streets only had them just stuck. What is believed to be a tornado slammed into South Slidell, damaging dozens of buildings, causing multiple injuries. So check out the flooding here in Kirbyville, Texas. Much of the town underwater today after over a foot of rain accumulated. The sheriff's office there says several residents had to be rescued or helped from flooded homes and vehicles. In Katy, Texas, just west of Houston, the weather causing severe damage to a strip mall full of stores and restaurants. A Firestone building collapsed. The front windows of a sports bar just blew out. You can see that right there.
We were blessed that no lives were lost, and we want to make sure that no lives are affected further from this.
Well, here at home, next week marks one of the worst outbreaks of severe weather in North Carolina history. It was April 16th, 2011. The National Weather Service confirmed 30 tornadoes touched down in the state. The storms killed 24 people as they swept across North Carolina. April is generally a rough month for severe weather in our state. Last year, a strong storm caused all of this damage in Elkin. In a matter of minutes, trees were down, wind damaged homes and businesses. There was so much debris that Elkin City Schools had to cancel classes the following school day. In 2022, strong storms uprooted several trees, including this one on a home in Sophia, north of Asheboro in Randolph County. Luckily, no one was hurt there. In 2021, a tornado warning was issued in Surrey County, the storm dropping hail all over. So much of it fell, it had the roads looking like it was kind of a winter day. Can you believe that? Was all hail. In 2020, storms caused massive damage across the South, killing 33 people, including a grandmother in Davidson County. The National Weather Service says 12 tornadoes touched down in our state, with one of them ripping through snow camp in Alamance County. All right, so and we didn't even get to the Greensboro tornado back in 2018.
Goodness, yeah.
All right.
It can be almost a little scary to rehash all of those all at once.
Yeah, so what is up with April?
Yeah, April. You know, we think about different types of weather at different types of years, right? When it comes to hurricanes, we think of September because that's the peak. That's when the water is the warmest everywhere. With tornadoes and with severe thunderstorms, spring really is the highlight of the year. And behind us, if we look, this kind of looks like a roller coaster, right? But if you put all 4 seasons on the map, spring is when most of our bad weather tends to happen with thunderstorms. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It has to do with the changing of the seasons. So spring is a change from winter to summer. Fall is a change from summer to winter. When you have those big changes, you can get those big cold fronts, and that's usually what causes thunderstorms and tornadoes in the first place. The type that are way different than a summer thunderstorm, those usually just rain a lot, have some thunder and lightning. They're not usually producing tornadoes, but in the spring and in the fall, it can be different.
All right, and of course, we're going to be keeping an eye out for tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's a low risk for tomorrow overall, as it usually is, but you know, kind of just on guard for 1 or 2. All of us are going to get wet and windy though the next couple days.
Which is why you need that WFMY News 2 weather app.
Yeah,
So you always know what's going on. All right, if you missed any of this, you can find it in our website, WFMY News 2.